Well, I think it's important. Listen, I said it when I first got here. There's some really good players. They're hard to get. They're hard to keep, and when you got them, you try to keep on to them, or hold on to them. So I think it's a good day for us, a real good day for us to get him signed. We're excited to get him signed. Top player in what I believe just entering the prime of his career. So we're excited. It's a good day for us.
From your perspective, Brad. From your perspective, what turned things to get this to where you could get across the line?
Well, I don't know if anything turned it, Chris. It's a process to go through. You know, I think when you have the starting point of a player that wants to be here and a team that wants to keep him, usually you can get it done. Listen, it's a big contract. It's a lot of money, and so you go through that process. But I don't know if there was ever an aha moment. We were, you know, you arm wrestle, you go through it, but I don't think there was ever a time where we felt we weren't going to get to the finish line. You know, because of what I said, the player ultimately wanted to be here. We wanted the player, so you find a way.
Were you close in the summer, or because the speculation was the price was a little bit cheaper in the summer? Can you walk us through the process of how you got to here?
Yeah, I'm not going to go right through it, Kevin. I wouldn't say the price was any cheaper in the summer. So this idea that all of a sudden the price, you know, we got to a point where everybody felt to get a deal done. And I think it's like any deal. You're probably always a little. You know, we always want a little less. The player always wants a little more. We find a way to get a deal done. And like I said, I at the end of the day, we got a really good player here that's going to be here for 8 more years. So that's we're happy about it.
Was there an official signing ceremony, and if so, was there some levity when he put pen to paper?
Yeah, well, you got to give it to Willie. He doesn't get too excited about anything. I said if I was that age and that kind of money, I might have slept here last night. But no, we had a good little time this morning. But you know, but also serious about talking about, like, to me, Willie, you guys have all seen him live, you know, and up close for a long time. I've seen him for a long time, but this is really. You know, I've worked with him now for 6 months or what it is, and my message to him is this: you're not getting paid. You don't need to change anything, but you know that old line: "To whom much is given, much is expected." And to me, he can take another step in his leadership. And when you see Willie competing and dug in, and you know, playing a 200-foot game, like our top guys do, the rest of the team follows. And so that was my message to him: is we don't need him to be anything different. We just, you know, he continues to mature as a player, and when he's at his best, there's very few better than him in the league.
How much pressure was there on management's side to get
Excuse me?
How much pressure on your side to get this done before trade deadline, just to avoid the risk of possibly walking him out the door?
Yeah, Luke, I don't know if pressure. I mean, there's always pressure to get these. You know, it's the job, but you keep going through the process. I know it sounds boring, but you know, we wanted to get the player signed. The player wanted to get signed, so you just keep working away at it, and you know, take some step forward some days. Some days you take step backs, but you stay committed to it, and ultimately you get something everybody can live with.
Right. Not to take anything away from what just happened and your work on it, but some of your heavier lifting come now in the next 2 months with the trade deadline on March 8th, and some things you might want to do there.
Yeah, Terry, I think you're always evaluating the team. I think, you know, I'm encouraged. I think we've taken some steps here lately. I think we've gotten healthier on the blue line. And there's one thing of getting healthy, and then it's like Timothy comes in. He's been in for a little bit, but it takes him a little time to get up to speed. You know, but I also think you got to be careful on trade deadline. Like, we'll continue to watch our team, but I'm not a big believer that, you know, you remake your team, right? You got to be careful with that. You know, there's tweaks that you'd like to do, sure. You know, we've got X amount of assets that we don't necessarily want to be throwing out the door. So certainly we'll continue to watch our team. We continue to see if there's ways that we can help it. and we'll continue to do that up to the deadline.
You have
At
other
least for
guys
next
that
year,
are,
Brad, obviously you'll have 4 players in double digits AAV-wise, and what's the cap is going up, luckily, but what's the challenge in navigating around that?
Certainly there's always challenges, right, Pierre, and I think all we can do is we could only tackle these things one at a time, right, when they came up. So I got here and Austin was the priority. Austin and Willie were both going into their final years. We're able to get those done, and now you see what's next on the list, right? But you're gonna have a cap that increases, but we're also not blind to the fact that there's other areas of our team as we move forward that you have to improve, and we'll continue to do that. So I don't have any bold statements or proclamations to make today, other than we got a really good player signed. Now we move on to the next piece.
you've got other guys who are free agents July 1st. Any chance any of them you'll move on before the trade deadline?
We'll see. I mean, we'll get today's piece of business done with, and you're always looking at it. I mean, we've got a lot of guys pending free agents. To Pierre's question, you got to, there's guys that we certainly would like to look at extending. You have to balance that with where the cap's going to be at and what they may want in terms of an extension. So those things we'll continue to monitor and see if there's any other business. But we've been pretty much focused on this file here for the last little bit.
And
Would you
any
describe
update on
the
Ilya?
emotions, Brad? How would you describe the emotions for you on a personal level on a day like this?
Well, it's always a good day when you get a good player signed. Like I said, you're always grinding, right? You're grinding through the process. But like I said, I know how hard it is to get talent, and at the end of the day, every contract, every dollar matters because we live in a cap world. So you folks can all debate it, and I'm sure it will be hotly debated. But at the end of the day, when you can get a top player signed, it's a good day.
What's the latest on Ilya?
Yes.
Sorry,
What's the
Ilya?
latest on Ilya?
Ilya's had a good week. We had a plan in place for him until we got back. He had another session here today. We're gonna huddle here later this afternoon to sort of map out the next piece of that. But it's been really good. His on ice and off ice work has been good. We kind of mapped it out through to today, and then we'll see. And I don't know if I have an update, but we'll have a plan here for the next few days here later this afternoon. But so far so good.